I'm Chef Paul Hayward. Today we're going to show you how to make dried meringue shells. Normally a dehydrator is used to make crispy meringue, but with this oven you can set it at 80 degrees to dry the meringue out perfectly white, nice and crispy. So we're going to get going. The ingredients we're going to use today, some very simple, some a little bit more complicated. We have fresh egg whites, or you can use pasteurized. Here we have a secret weapon. This is egg white powder, also known as meringue powder. We have caster sugar, and we have a few items here we're going to explain later, which we're going to use for toppings. So we're going to get started. Egg whites best if they can use them at room temperature. They whip faster than cold egg whites. The egg white powder, meringue powder, different brands call it different names, is going to give the egg whites the strength and stability to hold the volume. If you do not have it, you can make it without, but you have to be very precise with the whisking and the adding of the sugar. So all we're going to do, just quickly combine the egg white powder into the egg whites, and then we're going to close the machine. And we're going to put it onto whisk. Now the whisk, we want to start with because we have the egg white powder in, it's not as important like a normal meringue just to go medium speed for a long time to gather the strength. This one we can go straight into high speed to basically get the volume. This will take several minutes to get to full volume. So the meringue has now been whisking for 2 to 3 minutes. It's semi-stiff at the moment. So what we're going to do is start to add the sugar slowly. Now adding the sugar slowly is going to build strength to the meringue, and it's going to make it nice and stiff. You don't want to add all the sugar at one time, as it will collapse the meringue. Okay, so the longer you mix the meringue, the tighter and more heavy it's going to become. So we don't want to mix it for too long, because like I say, we want this to be a nice light dry meringue. Okay, so now we're at the point where we're going to turn off the machine and we're going to open. You're going to see that the meringue is nice and stiff, so we can pipe. It's pipeable. Okay, so another little trick, especially if you're on your own, get a measuring jug. Got your piping bag, we have a small star nozzle inside. Just push it inside the measuring jug, and this will help you when you come into filling. So we can just take the meringue, just hold the handle at the back, and just scrape inside the bag. So there is things you can purchase, but no need, because everybody's got a measuring jug. And then there we have a nice bag full of meringue. Now this is personal preference. You can pipe this in any shape you want, any design you want. You can even add things to the meringue like vanilla at this point, coffee, to make it different flavors. So we're going to pipe some small designs. Leave a small gap in between. The meringue will expand during drying, but it will shrink back as well. So we're just going to pipe some little, like, kind of swirly sticks. Now these can be dehydrated in the oven, just like this. But what we're going to do is we're going to add a few little garnishes. So here we have some pistachio sticks. We're just going to sprinkle them on the edge. I have a couple. Here we have some crystallized rose petals. So it's basically a fresh rose that's been mixed with egg white and sugar and then dehydrated. These you can purchase online very easily. We're going to sprinkle these on the little heart shapes. Again, you can dust so many things, nuts, spices. You can get as creative as you want. So don't always just follow the recipe. Think how you can change the recipe. Take the simple ingredients and change them. Experimenting is how we create new recipes. It's not always about being a pastry chef or being a scientist. It's about just experimenting. So now the meringues are all piped and decorated, we're going to dehydrate. So we're going to head over to the BAKERLUX Shop.Pro Master, and I will show you the settings. We're going to hit the set button. We're going to hit, this time, hours. We're going to go to 3 hours, temperature 80 degrees centigrade. And this control panel is so easy to use, like a mobile phone. So we're going to hit the fan speed, minus, go down to fan 1. Now once I hit the start button, the preheating will already begin and it will completely heat the chamber inside. The oven will also tell us when it's ready, so it will beep. Okay, so the oven is telling us it's ready, so we'll load the meringues. So the oven starts automatically. After 3 hours, the door will open and alarm will go off, so we know it's ready. So now we're going to make white chocolate honey whipped ganache. So this is a little bit of a modern recipe, not something that most people understand, but it's very, very simple, very tasty and super easy to make. So let's go to it. So simple ingredients, we're using whipped cream, it has a 35% fat content, honey, white chocolate, which has got cocoa butter inside, so real white chocolate, and additional cream. I'll explain why we have 2 creams as we go along. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the first amount of cream, which is the larger amount, and we're going to pour it into the pot. And we're going to bring this, turn this on straight away to come to a boil. Then we're going to take the honey and add it also to the cream. Now normally in a professional kitchen I use something called inverted sugar, which is like a clear sugar, which is going to help sweeten but not so much, and also give flexibility to the ganache. A normal ganache is basically chocolate and cream, sometimes has butter, and it's basically blended together. A whipped ganache is the same, but we add cold cream afterwards. The reason for this is once the cream has been boiled, it doesn't like to whip up. So because we've destroyed the enzymes inside the cream, so we add cold cream at the end. This will make more sense as we go along. While the cream is coming to a boil with the honey, we're going to add the chocolate to the measuring jug. I like to use a measuring jug with anything that we're going to blend because it has a nice cylinder shape and it's going to emulsify much easier in this than trying to do it in a small flat bowl. Okay, so the cream is almost come to a boil. We'll have our blender ready. Just give the cream a little bit of a stir because the honey is in the base, so we don't want it to boil and leave the honey inside. So the cream is now coming to the boil, and we want to make sure it is a proper boil, so we can see many, many bubbles, not just one bubble and we take it off. It needs to be boiling. We need that heat. Okay, so now it's boiling. We're going to pour this straight over the chocolate. Now the heat from the cream and the honey is going to basically melt the chocolate inside because this is going to blend very, very easily. So we're going to take the blender. And then we're going to pour in the cold cream. Now we just want to blend this so it's combined, but not too much, because if you keep blending, it will start to whip the cream. So all we're doing is combining the ingredients together. So now we have, basically it's a liquid, which is basically like a white chocolate drink. It's also good like this. We're now going to pour this into a storage container. We're going to put this into the fridge for at least 12 hours or overnight, so it chills. Everything gets cold and the chocolate will start to crystallize and set, so it will thicken slightly. If we do not leave it for the full amount of time and it's not cold enough when we whip, there's a good possibility it will split and go grainy. So we need to give it the time to do this. So normally it's always good to make this the day before. And basically that's our whipped ganache. We will come and see this in 12 hours. So the meringues are ready, the cream is ready, the white chocolate whipped ganache, and now we're going to fill. So we're just going to basically take a piping bag. We're putting it inside a measuring jug just so it holds it for me while I fill the bag. Take some of the cream. Now, when you're using the white chocolate whipped ganache, it's cream and it's chocolate. So if you've got hot hands, which I do, you don't want to put too much in the bag, because if you put it too much, the heat from your hands will slowly start to melt the chocolate and heat the cream up. So we're just going to basically fill. So we have the bag ready. Then we're going to take the shell. So we're going to take one shell, pipe the cream on, and then we're going to basically sandwich together. And there you have your little meringues. Similar to what we do with the macaroons, we can have a top and a bottom. Pipe the cream in first. Don't need a huge amount of cream, it's very rich. Goes amazing with these meringues. So you got the nice crisp and you got the creaminess. It's just a perfect combination. There you have, filled meringues, crunchy meringues, white chocolate whipped ganache. Delectable, very, very nice, must try it.